You have 13 seconds. Prepare yourselves. Oh, great. I'm getting the thumbs up. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom to those of you who are in the sanctuary. Shabbat Shalom to those who are watching us on Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. Wherever you are part of our community, and we thank you for joining us. Tonight I'm being joined on the bima by Cantor Jessica Jacobs, and I've already led one service with her this evening, Yizkor. I know that she will help rise our level of spirituality tonight with her lovely voice. So, a joke. I shouldn't tell you a joke. Oh, I'll tell you it's a joke anyway. There was a little boy who once came home from Kol Tikva's religious school, and his father asked him, "What did you learn today?" And the boy said, "The rabbi told us how Moses led the children of Israel out of Egypt." And the father said, "Well, how did Moses do this?" And the little boy said, "Moses was a big, strong man, and he beat Pharaoh up. Then while he was down, he got all the people together and ran towards the sea. When he got there, he had the Corps of Engineers build a huge pontoon bridge, and once they got to the other side, they blew up the bridge which the Egyptians were trying to cross." And the father was shocked, and he said, "Is that what the rabbi actually taught you?" And the boy replied, "No, but you never believe the story he tried teaching us." For the last few days, we've been at our Seders, celebrating a story that is beyond believable. It's a story that we tell year after year. It's a story that leads us to the conclusion that miracles do happen, that slavery can be ended even after 430 years, that freedom is possible, and that we can live through a week of eating matzah. So tonight we're going to sing and learn a little bit about Passover. We're going to pray, and we're going to begin right now with Shalom Aleichem, that song where we welcome angels into our lives. We are on page 142.
Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu boachem leshalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu barchuni l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu tzedchem l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
Once upon a time in a faraway land, there lived a king who had a Jewish advisor. And the king relied so much on the wisdom of his Jewish advisor that one day he decided to elevate him to head advisor. But all the other advisors objected because how could you have a Jew above the others? And the king, thought about this idea. And he finally said, "No, you're right." And he went to the Jew and said, "You need to convert." And being loyal to his king, what did this Jew do? He converted. But as soon as the act was done, the Jew felt great remorse for this terrible decision. And as days became weeks, His remorse turned to despondency, and as months passed, his mental depression took its toll on his physical health. He became weaker and weaker. Finally, he could stand it no longer. His mind was made up. He burst in on the king and cried, "I was born a Jew, and a Jew I must die. Do what you want with me, but I can no longer deny my faith." And the king was surprised. He had no idea that the Jew felt so strongly about it. And he said to him, "Well, if that's how you feel, then the other advisors will just have to learn to live with it. Your counsel is much too important to me. Go and be a Jew again." And this Jewish advisor, felt elated. He hurried home to tell his wife the good news. He felt the strength surge back to his body as he ran. And then he burst into the house and called out to his wife, Rivka, we can be Jews again. We can be Jews again." And his wife glared at him angrily and said, "You couldn't wait until after Passover?" Yes, Passover is not easy. And a lot of us would skip right over it. And that was a long story for one short joke. But each Passover, we're reminded of the journeys our ancestors took. Journeys where often we had to pretend not to be Jewish. We had to hide. We had to change our identities just to survive. But after it all, we always pronounced who we were, because ultimately our faith would come into our hearts and lift us and remind us that as Jews we must live, and as Jews we must die. So now we turn to page 138 for Lachado D. That song where we welcome the Sabbath bride into our lives. We'll be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, rising on that last verse and facing the back door. Lachado D.
La 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 Lachado D. La 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 לקראת כלה. La 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 פני שבת. פני שבת נקרב. La 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 Lachado D. La 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 לקראת כלה. La 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 פני שבת. פני שבת נקרב. שמות וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד בשם ותפארת ולתהילה. La 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 Lachado D. La 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 לקראת כלה. La 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 פני שבת. פני שבת נקרב אליו. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מכון הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה ולתהילה. La 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 Lachado D. La 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 לקראת כלה. La 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 פני שבת. פני שבת נקרב אליו. התעוררי כי באורך קומי
rise and face the back door.
בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובשולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, לה לה לה, לה 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 לך דודי, לה 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 לקראת כלה, לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל, לה 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 לך דודי, לה 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 לקראת כלה, לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה.
You may be seated. I'm going to ask Lila and Lisa to come forward to light our Shabbat candles tonight. My daughter's in town visiting. And as we light these Shabbat candles, come on over here.
Shabbat shalom.
As we light these candles, we are opening up a gateway through which the Sabbath bride will enter our hearts, our lives, and our homes. If you could please light our candles.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
That was the best candle lighting I've ever seen. The two of you are amazing.
Yasher koach.
We now turn to page 146 for the Baruch. Let us all rise as we face our ark, as we begin our call to worship. Page 146.
Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach, hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Hamevorach, hamevorach le'olam va'ed.
Please remain standing. Let's take one hand and cover our eyes. Let's take a deep breath in and out. Another deep breath in and out. And on this breath, let the Sabbath bride enter your life. Deep breath in and out. And now the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Avad.
You may be seated. We continue on page 154 for the Vahafta. There is no bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah tomorrow, so I need you all to sing along with our cantor. The Vahafta, page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We turn to page 158 for the Micha Mocha. The Micha Mocha is that great moment, or commemorates that great moment of joy we had after 430 years of slavery. We were finally free. We had, left Egypt after that 10th plague. We got stuck on the Sea of Reeds, right at the border of the Sea of Reeds. And we saw the Egyptian army coming, but that sea split and we crossed through, and that sea closed, and we sang this song, a song of joy, of happiness, a song of freedom, the Micha Mocha.
Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nehedar b'kodesh, Norah tehilot, Osef elei. Micha Mocha, Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nehedar b'kodesh, Norah tehilot, Osef elei. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nehedar b'kodesh.
Let's turn to page 160 for Hashkivenu. Let us read in the middle of 160 the translation as a way to introduce the singing of this prayer. The middle of 160. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, for your name's sake be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, l'ha'amideinu malkeinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
We turn to page 371 for the Misha Baruch prayer. We say the Misha Baruch for those who are ill of mind, body, and spirit. For those who suffer from mental illness, physical illness, and spiritual maladies. And on our Misha Baruch list tonight, we have Abby Rapport, Janet Blake, Pam Branner, Lynn Newman, Susie Newborn, Sharon Friedman, Diana Carew, Jeff Borowitz, Mark Mann, Erwin Ames, Dara LaValle, Vladimir Litvak, Jeffrey Albaum, Baylor Robinson, Ed Edelson, Mark Jeff Stickler, Leanne Rosenberg, Hillel Baldwin, Michaeli Wetley, Dell and Hank Laufenberg, Trish Santana, Unholy. We think of those affected by acts of anti-Semitism and bigotry, those suffering in Ukraine, those injured due to border challenges, those healing from all too frequent gun violence, those affected by terrorist attacks and environmental challenges, and all those caring for the ill. If you have an additional name for our Misha Baruch list, please share it with us now.
Mike and Allie and Theo.
Misha Baruch Avatenu V'Imatenu. May the God of our ancestors grant our Fuah Shlema, a complete and full healing to all those named this evening and to all those we hold in our hearts. And together we say, Amen.
Amen.
The singing of Misha Baruch.
Misha Baruch Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Lehimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We rise for the Amidah. We are on page 164. Please stand. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. I'd like you to note as we do the Amidah tonight that when you get to page 164, we no longer say Mashiv Harok or Marid HaGashem. It is now considered summer, and we will say Marid Hatal. And as you read through the sections we do silently, look for the Pesach inserts. They're scattered throughout these pages. We are on page 164 for the Amidah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Hasdei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevi Gehula livnei v'neihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Morid hatah, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishanei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melech, Melech memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hakol, Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kedoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh.
We continue silently through page 180. When you're done with your silent prayer, you may be seated.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart, be acceptable before you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ויעקור ישראל, והימרו והימרו, אמן.
So, how many of you get too many emails? I think everyone should raise their hand at this point. I know I get too many. They clutter my mailbox, and I'm just referring to the ones that teach me about Passover. I mean, literally, I get tons and tons of Passover emails from every possible organization, and they're all pitching me a special Seder or a special Haggadah, something that they want me to be involved in. They could be trying to sell me a men's Seder, a women's Seder, a children's Seder, an LGBTQ plus Seder, a young adult Seder, a sobriety Seder, a church Seder, adult-only Seder, a Hayas and a refugee Seder, a fill-in-the-blank Seder. Everyone is having a Seder or publishing a Haggadah. I will tell you that if you go to eBay and you type in, it's not eBay, excuse me, Amazon, you type in Seder, you'll find like 2,000 or 3,000 different Haggadahs that you can order that are all thematic. And I recently ordered 5 of them, and they're all quite beautiful and all quite different. So all you have to do is name a group, and they're doing a Seder. And all I can say about all of these differences is great. If you're going to deliver a message to help improve the world, then all is fine by me. But of course, this always causes me to wonder when I see this plethora of Seder ideas, what is a Seder truly about? How can we have so many different perspectives on this holiday? And I have to believe that each group, each specialty Seder, each new Haggadah for each specialty group is looking to tell their story. Each group is defining the shackles that have held them down in the past and continue to hold them down in the present. Each is looking for a way to throw off the shackles of their own enslavement so that they can live more fulfilling lives. So I guess one theme that is repeated regardless of your Seder, your Haggadah, whatever it is, that theme is freedom. Because it's all about our own personal journey out of Mitzrayim, that Hebrew word for Egypt, and into the desert. And you might not know, but the word Mitzrayim literally means a narrow place. And every group is moving through a narrow place. And every group is trying to find its way to the desert, that representation of freedom. I remember the first time I heard the definition of Mitzrayim. It was during a Beit Shuvah Shabbat service with Rabbi Mark Borowitz. In his case, he was speaking about the narrow place of addiction, given that his congregation was comprised of addicts in recovery and those who supported them. So take a moment. Think about your personal Mitzrayim, your personal narrow space. What is the route that you need to take to become free? The theme of freedom from enslavement is central to this holiday. But there are also other messages. I recently received a teaching by Rabbi Daniel Brenner, once again by email. And in it, he discusses the power of being fooled in an article called "We Won't Get Fooled Again." And while he writes about teens being fooled by other teens, his words ring true to all of us. But what does being fooled have to do with your Seder? Well, according to a midrash, the slavery of the Hebrews in Egypt began with being fooled. You see, in the book of Exodus, we read, "And the Egyptians made the children of Israel work vigorously." Now, the Hebrew word for vigorously is parech. And in Hebrew, parech can also mean, well, you break it apart, perach, a soft mouth, meaning gentle speech. So how did the Egyptians make the Hebrews work using gentle speech? Well, it's believed that slavery began with Pharaoh saying, "I beg of you, as a special favor, work alongside me today." And Pharaoh picked up a basket and shovel, and everyone followed him. But when it grew dark, he said to the Israelites, "Count up the bricks." And when they finished, he said to them, "This is the number of bricks that you must make for me every day." He tricked them, he fooled them into making bricks. They made them work vigorously, parech, with soft speech, perach. How often have we been fooled by gentle speech? I know that I have. Rabbi Shalom Dov Ber, a 19th century Hasidic sage, once said to his son, "There are 3 things you need to know to be a man. Don't fool yourself, don't fool others, and don't allow yourself to be fooled by others. And do it all without trying to impress anyone." When we were in Egypt, we were children that were fooled. But ultimately, we learned not to trust the man who was fooling us, the Pharaoh. In addition to freedom, though, remember the Exodus stories I told again and again to remind us not to be fooled back into slavery, not to be fooled by others in our daily lives. All the while, we need to be open to new people and not to be afraid that everyone is fooling us. And yet there's another theme. And that theme is anavah, humility, because Moses was known to have great anavah, and the rabbis write about this continuously. Anavah, humility. And the idea is we must always be humble. And we think about Moses at the burning bush when God said, "Go and help your fellow Hebrews." And Moses said, "I am slow of tongue, slow of speech. How could I do that? I'm not up for the job." And God said, "You have great anavah. I will give you others to help." And Miriam and Aaron, his brother and sister, helped him. But we also get this idea of being humble from matzah, believe it or not, because when we eat matzah, we're refraining from chametz. And chametz bread is fluffy and large, puffed up. But matzah is flat. It reminds us to keep ourselves humble. So at the root of our Passover observance, there are many messages, but 3 that I spoke about this evening. Freedom. Freedom to find our path out of Mitzrayim. The idea that we should not be fooled, and if we are fooled, to find a way to become, well, unfooled any way that is possible. And then finally, to remember to remain humble, no matter how unhumble we might have become. May you never forget the lessons of Passover, lessons of friendship, community, freedom, and your ability to avoid being fooled while retaining your humility. And together we say, Amen. I'm going to ask Karen to come forward with some announcements, so I don't have an extra microphone up here.
You can use mine.
Okay. There's one up there. Is that one good? Come right over here.
Does it work? Hello, hello? Y'all hear me? Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us either in person or virtually. Thank you, Rabbi Jon, for this beautiful service. And thank you for joining us, Cantor Jessica Jacobs, and sharing your beautiful voice with us. Truly special. Thank you to our camera specialist, Lindsay, and to our sound aficionado, Dave. And now I just have a few quick announcements. So this Monday evening on Zoom, our religious school director, Samantha Duenas, will start her adult education class, Exploring Jewish Identity through Food. Learn how Jewish foods shaped us, our traditions, and our history. Ever wonder where some of our Jewish foods come from? Or how did it get started? Samantha will be uncovering the mystery behind some of our favorite Jewish foods. Please join her on Zoom. On Tuesday, join our Bring Your Own Lively Lunch with special guest artist Hannah Ben Elizer Curtis, an Israeli artist who will lead us in a meaningful experience creating art. And Wednesday evening is our monthly book club led by Rebbitzin Lisa Hanisch. Woo-woo. Last but definitely not least, our gala. Join us on May 20th as we honor Rabbi Jon and Lisa. Go to our website for more information on sponsorships. It's going to be a spectacular night filled with yummy food, a fun silent and live auction, and much, much more, including just being with and supporting your Kol Tikva community. Please visit our website for more information on all events. The calendar lists everything that's happening here. Chag Sameach and Shabbat Shalom.
So before we do the Mourner's Kaddish, we have a special prayer we have to do because we have to count the Omer. And we are taught to count the Omer from the second night of Passover until the night before Shavuot. And the idea is we're counting our way to receiving the Torah. And so I'm going to recite the blessing. And I think you even have a little something in your Shalom sheet with the Omer counting. Let's just see if I'm right. Yep. You can see Homer Simpson counting the Omer with Homer. Okay. We're trying to liven it up this year. And I've even got my Homer Simpson sheet. It's a great website. It's very amusing, and it also helps you count the Omer. And the idea is we count up for 49 days. 49 days in anticipation of receiving our Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Blessed are you, eternal our God, the sovereign of all, who has made us holy with your mitzvot and commanded us concerning the counting of the Omer. Hayom shnei yamim la Omer. And I was going, were you going to sing this? I can't remember.
I actually have a special melody by Mayor Finkelstein.
Please.
הנני מוכן ומזומן, הנני מוכן ומזומן, לקיים מצוות עשה של ספירת העומר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על ספירת העומר. היום שני ימים, היום שני ימים, היום שני ימים לעומר, לעומר.
We now turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. On our recently departed list, Buddy Roche, remembered by the Ames family. B. Kozlowski, remembered by the Kozlowski family. Myron Crystal, remembered by the Crystal family. Sally Cole, remembered by the Cole and Rome families. We also hold in our prayers those taken by gun violence, those who have passed due to floods, fires, and other natural and unnatural disasters, and those killed in regional conflicts. On our Yortzeit list, Mary Berov, Dr. Gerald H. Becker, Mark Binder, George Harvey Bloom, Rose Cohen, M.L. Engber, Lizelate Fisher, Linda Sue Glucroft, Marilyn Gubin, Carrie Harvey, Joanna Holdstein, Gisela Katz, Elvira Corpiel, Ronald Tyson Lee, Doris Lees, Esther Miller, Eugene Mullen, Muriel Newman, Jacob Rubin, Paul Sachs, Lillian Schaller, and Ralph Steinhauser. If you have an additional name for our Kaddish or your site list, please share it with me now. If you're in the first 7 days of morning Shiva, I ask you to rise. If you're in the first 30 days of morning Shloshim, I ask you to rise. If you're in the first year of mourning, I ask you to rise. If you're observing a yortzeit, I ask you to rise. As a community, we rise to show our love and our support. We are on page 598. Yitgadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
B'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei. B'chayachon v'yimechon v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael. B'galav v'zman kari v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Chushbachata v'nechamata. Damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates peace on high create peace for all who mourn, for all Israel, and for all humankind. And together we say, Amen. If you know the people next to you, put your arm around them. If not, ask their permission first. We're going to sing a concluding song as I grab the challah and the Kiddush cup.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam.
Let's all raise our imaginary Kiddush cups as we do a short Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Now, typically, I open up a beautiful challah and I have you all point at it and go, yummy, yum, yum. This is matzah. I feel really guilty making you do that. But why don't we go, I don't know, matzah, matzah, matzah. Let's all point at it and go matzah, matzah, matzah. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Matzah, matzah, matzah. And now can we do hamotzi?
Yeah, hamotzi with matzah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min ha'matzah. Amen. Hamotzi matzah min ha'aretz.
Amen. And now you can go and enjoy a kosher for Passover snack in the social hall, which means it won't be very good because it's kosher for Passover.
So enjoy that.
And thank you to our guest cantor.
Thank you for having me. Shabbat Shalom.